thought I'd shoot a video on some of the upgrades I've done on my machine. First off, I want to talk about the Shark Guard. This thing is a game changer. These things don't have great desk collection, so I ordered it with the 4-inch, and oh my gosh, yeah, I love it. It is way better. The other thing I've done for dust collection is below the table here. Just bought some of this cheap sticky backed foam and stuck it on the sides to extend up to keep a little more of the air in here. See, I just didn't stick it completely over the hole to get the bolt out, left some of the backing on a section. It's I did it temporarily just to see if it would help, and it has been on there 2+ years. I have a little pieces on the backside here, but what I'm eventually going to do, because it only has the little 2.5-inch or 2-inch hose down there, is I think I'm just going to make a little side, put a 4-inch to that size pipe Y. I think they call it 2-inch or something, and then put in a side suction that hangs right here on the side. Probably make it out of like 1/4-inch plywood, because it's got to fit when it tilts up to 45 down here. So I'll keep you guys posted when I do that. As far as dust collection, the other thing is the Rockler Dust Right adapters. Since I'm constantly switching the suction, this thing's been great. I have one on the joiner, planer, the table saw, the joiner fence. The other huge thing that really changed this machine for me is getting the IVAC blast gates and the sensor. So, for the table saw, it's got the top and bottom suction, and then when I have my tabletop suction off, I can just hit the switch, close it off, and have all the suction on the lower hose, or when I'm using the joiner planer. So that's been so much less time switching hoses. The other little fun thing I did is just put a little shelf attached to the little factory holes in the back to hold my joiner fence. So then it's just one less thing floating around my shop. Upgraded this guy, this cutter head, the joiner planer cutter head. I put a bird tool head in there. It's time consuming to get that thing in there, but it's not a hard upgrade. It's all just basic assembly, disassembly. I think the hardest part was, the under this big table, getting the pulley thing off, which I'll probably shoot another video, because what I did when I put this head in, I put some twist on one of these blocks when I tightened them down. It tightened them down evenly, so either this guy or this guy. So the bearing was under a little bit of a bind. It didn't spin very free, and the bearing's starting to go out because of that, but I already have an extra set ready to go in. So I'll probably be making one of the assembly disassembly to get in there, swap the bearings and whatnot. One thing I did learn, see these teeth that are marked with marker. So when I was putting it in, I took all the teeth off, but everywhere I put a little nick in the seat of the carbide, like, let's see, where the carbide seats onto the main head, if there's any little ding from just a wrench to touching it, whatever, there's little areas I scuffed it up. I realized that it was cracking my carbide because there was a stress riser. So just be careful of those. So when I saw like a broken tooth, when I came back to the machine one day before I turned it on, luckily, I took it off and inspected it, and then I found that was the cause. So when you are messing with these heads, just make sure those carbide seats are clean, flat, and I just use a little sharpening stone to take off those burrs. And let's see, I think think that's kind of it. I know a lot of people are looking for riving knives for these because the original one is trash, and I believe Sharp Guard will probably just sell you this as a riving knife, but I highly recommend this their guard. This has been the nicest table saw top guard I've used, just because they didn't try to overcomplicate it like a lot of factory people do. Plus you have 4-inch, so it's love sucking dust. And I think that covers it. Realized there was one more thing I did that I'm really liking. My machine didn't come with the factory crosscut fence, which I think this one was pretty painful to buy. I tried to track down one, but I actually got it through who are those people who do the parts now on the East Coast? Anyway, that was about $500 piece of aluminum extrusion. That hurt. But after using some other panel saws, I saw a lot of fences on them have a short like wooden L, like to give like a zero clearance or just a reference. And so I took the idea just on the back here. Let me get on the other side. I put this little plywood on with a little dovetail joint, and then make a replaceable block out of some cedar scrap I'd laying around. This one's getting pretty tired. That edge has been hammered. So I have a whole pile of different blocks, different angles, and some more stock. I can just slip that stock right onto this, whatever angle setup I have, make the cut, and then have a zero clearance back up. Yeah, what do you call that? Fence. I guess zero clearance fence. Yeah. So that was very nice. And the other thing I tracked down was a little remote. I think the battery is actually currently dead, but I put a remote angle indicator on this, so I have a digital angle reader instead of sticking the little magnetic one. So this little box, I attached it directly to the motor and took a little calibration, because my shop's not level and everything. So you get that set to level. This whole, motor swings with the tilt. So that little box is, reference to that. And it reads out up here. I'm going to make a little better bracket, but it came with the magnetic back, so I just leave it there. And yeah, that's been nice. I'd like to get a digital readout for the planer table one day, but one thing at a time. So those are the upgrades so far on this fun little tiny combination machine.